Welcome to the Hunted Yard Dash Football Podcast presented by the Chiefs Focus Network, where you talks about the NFL from end zone to end zone and all hunted yards in between. Without further ado, here's you.
Yo, what it do? This is the 100-Yard Dash Football Podcast. I'm talking about the NFL from end zone to end zone and all 100 yards in between. I am you. They call me your host. What it do? What it do? You can find this podcast at most places where you get your podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, so forth, so on, and what have you. We also broadcasting live on StreamYard, Twitch, YouTube at Chiefs Focus. This is a Chiefs focused production. We're affiliated with Chiefs Focus, but we talking all NFL. Like I said, it's from end zone to end zone and all 100 yards in between. I do this at least once a week. This is supposed to be on Wednesday, but I had to do it on Friday because we had a situation. Always something, but it's all good. Sometimes I do it earlier. Sometimes I do it later in the week. But if you set up your notifications, if you follow and hit the little bell on the YouTube, then you would have no problem interacting with me. Also, log into the Chiefs Focus Twitch streaming, and you can view me there. YouTube, of course, Chiefs Focus, or myself. And I just thank you all for listening. I appreciate it. And first, let's get on into it. First, we got some news. Now, again, this is going to be about a 30-minute show, 45-minute show. And the news, DeMeco Ryans decides to be the head coach for the Texans. He turns down Denver. He turns down a few. I think he turned down one other one, but Denver's the most notable one for me. And DeMeco Ryans is headed to the Texans to be the head coach. Now, my first thought was he's the third black coach in a row to coach down there. Hopefully his stint is better than the last two, because those two only had all of 2 years? Two coaches in the last 2 years. So we'll see how his fate fares down there. Let's go to Sean Payton. Sean Payton becomes the head coach of the Broncos. Compensation. Denver sends his first round pick and next year's second round pick for Sean Payton, because Sean Payton, technically, the Saints still own the rights to Sean Payton as far as employment goes in the NFL. And so Denver's 2023 first round pick and 2023 second round pick goes for Sean Payton. I'm sorry, 2023 first round pick, 2024 second round pick. And the Saints trade their 2024 third round pick. So in 2023, the picks that the Denver Broncos have is round 3, pick number 68, pick number 69, overall pick number 108, 140, 194, and 247. So you're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 picks, but they all come after the third round. Boy, what's his face better be a dang good GM for real. Sean Payton wasn't their first choice. That's crazy. Sean Payton was not their first choice, or their second for that matter, but he is the most expensive for sure. But anyway, let's keep it moving. Kellen Moore and Dallas Cowboys part ways. Probably a good thing for him. Kellen Moore will be the OC for the Chargers. I don't know how good that is for for either party. So Kellen Moore will now be coaching Justin Herbert instead of Dak Prescott. We'll see how that works out, especially in the same division with Patrick Mahomes. I don't know. But I know everybody's so eager to crown Justin Herbert as Patrick Mahomes' equal, but let's be honest, that's not realistic. He's got skills to pay the bills, but the bill has come due many a times, and he hasn't been able to pay it against Patrick Mahomes. So let's keep it moving. The new NFL cap number is projected to be $224.8 million, an increase of over $16 million. Your favorite player might be able to be kept because of that number. The cap number, a lot of people say it isn't real. You know, when you're not dealing with actual cash, everything's fluid. Everything's fluid. So we'll see how that changes specific teams and their uh, business dealings. Specifically, I'm looking at the Bengals because a lot of people say they won't have the opportunity to keep Tyler Boyd and Higgins and the running back whose name escapes me, but we will see. They might be able to take a little bit less to stay. Who knows? Who knows? Sound like the Cincinnati has really got a thing for the Chiefs, so they might be willing to stay. All right, last but not least, Tom Brady retires again. Tom Brady retires again. Don't know if I believe it this time. It seems like it's real, but I thought it was real. I felt like it was real last time, and he just got tired of being at home. That's what it felt like. I'm not gonna lie. It felt like that. He got tired of being at home last year, or I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago, but it felt like it was 2 years ago. So last year, uh, he got tired of being at home and was like, I'm gonna go, and went back to work against his wife's wishes. But he says he's retired. He seems heartfelt based on what it was, and I've already waxed poetic about how much Tom Brady means to the sport. We've done all that, so we ain't gonna do it again. Let's keep it moving. So let's get to this conference championship game. Went to a friend's house. I'm loving to call him a friend. Big Fish, Niner Nation. Got to see his Niners take on the Eagles. The Eagles really kind of stomped the 49ers, and the 49ers just ran out of players. They just basically ran out of players. Uh Now the Eagles went for it on 4th and 3 from 36, which would have been a 40-plus yard field goal instead of the first, and kicking the field goal. I thought that was a gutsy call. Uh, but then when Brock Purdy fumbled that ball, Hassan Reddick was all over that offensive line super early, super often. And then Purdy did that fumble. He hurt his throwing hand or throwing arm and got taken out. And then Josh Johnson got brought in, and it was all downhill from there. McCaffrey tried to keep the 49ers in it, but they lacked the specialness of the quarterback in those positions, and so that became a problem. The Eagles, they made a few mistakes, but it was pretty much cakewalk for them. The 49ers bobbled that snap and fumbled early, or not early, in the middle, and that was just the killer. That was the stone that straw that broke the camel's back. And after halftime, I just felt like the Eagles played downhill. So tough break for Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, because they were knocking on the door again, even though their quarterback status was kind of iffy. But it all came back to hurt them in the end, bite them in the end. So it is what it is. And the 49ers lose to the Eagles. Eagles score 31. The 49ers score 7. It was a great season for the 49ers. I thought this was their year to hit the championships, but the Eagles said, no. No way, sir. No way. And they stop them. So the Eagles are the NFC, or will represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. Next, let's go to the Chiefs versus the Bengals. Now, this game had all the storylines. The Bengals 3-0 against the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes hobbled from last game after one of the defenders who used to be a Raider now, or who used to be a Raider, is currently a Jaguar. Fell on his ankle and he was hobbled all week and had to come into this hobbled. Patrick Mahomes played well, and the Bengals played all right. But the real story, is the defense of the Chiefs. If this game had the juice, this game obviously had the juice. This isn't the new Brady Manning. I'm gonna let you know that right now. This is not. Burrow and Mahomes is not the new Brady Manning. It's far exceeded that, way past that, way past that. I think I'm starting to believe some of this is going to really result in some bad blood. I don't remember who it was that said it. Might have been Mixon, might have been the cornerback that mentioned that we'll see y'all next week. He looked into the camera, told the Chiefs we'll see y'all next week in Burrowhead. And I think it lit something up in the defense, because when they started the game, when the Chiefs started the game, the defensive line was all over them. And I always thought that this game was going to be won or lost in the trenches. Won or lost in the trenches. They weren't going to let Jamar Chase go off on them again. They wasn't going to let Higgins get it in on them as much as he always does. Like, they were going to take somebody out of this game. And Joe Burrow and them had a patchwork offensive line, which, to be fair, they had the same thing last season too. They were missing 3 offensive linemen this past year. The year before that, they had the worst offensive line in the season. So, it wasn't, for me, I didn't really think it was going to be a huge deal anyway, because they had one of the worst offensive lines. Joe Burrow hadn't got sacked, or had been sacked a whole lot last season. And then the Chiefs still couldn't get to him. Still. But now we talking about they finally got to him this game. They were determined to get to Joe Burrow and make him uncomfortable, and it looked like he was uncomfortable from the very beginning. Chiefs get up 7-0, I think, and end up having an offensive run that was pretty nice. But it cooled off in the second quarter. It felt like it cooled off in the second quarter. And somewhere along the way, Joe Burrow, they score about 7 points or so forth and so on. And it's a game. It's a game. It's an absolute game. But in the fourth quarter, when your stars are supposed to shine the brightest, okay, Chris Jones, the guy who's looking for an extension on this upcoming season, the guy who was called out for not having a sack in the playoffs, and I'm not talking about this playoffs, I'm talking about in his playoff career. Chris Jones went off. He had his sack earlier in the quarter, or earlier in the game, first quarter, but he found a way to close out that game and be able to get a sack on Joe Burrow. Now, the game didn't stop there, but the big one is when it was tied, and Patrick Mahomes had the opportunity to drive the Chiefs down the field to win the game, because it was 20-20 at the time. And Patrick Mahomes had nobody open. And next thing you know, he decides to run. Now we got to remember, it's on that bum ankle, so you got to get it any way possible. So he runs, gets the first, and gets pushed out, or runs out of bounds. And then you got, I can't remember the kid's name, but he was all over the field on the defense. He pushes him while he's out of bounds. And of course, Patrick Mahomes, who already has a bum ankle, flops out of bounds or whatever. And believe me, I do believe there was a little bit of theatrics there, but the rule still remains. You can't hit the quarterback while he's on the way out. Simple and plain. Anyway, let's keep it moving. That sets up an extra 15 yards on top of what Patrick Mahomes already got. And it puts them in field goal range because they were not in field goal range. Now, it doesn't end there because we're talking about Butker, who was a little bit worse this year than he had been in years prior. So, as far as field goal making percentage, but he made the field goal, champagne rain, confetti falls from the heavens, champions, Chiefs win the championship, the AFC championship, and now I'm talking to you. So we have currently, again, this matchup is going to be the thing that everybody looks for. This isn't the new Brady Manning. This is a better version of it. This is even better. I saw a thing about Jamar Chase when someone asked him to swap jerseys with him. He said, "Bleep." He said, "Hell no, no." So it just like little things like that, plus the mayor saying what he had to say, and the Chiefs chirping back, and all that stuff. This is beginning to be a rivalry for our generation. I didn't like the Tom Brady Manning rivalry after. In retrospect, I didn't like it. It was fine then, but they didn't meet that often. This is going to be a rivalry that, especially after Joe Burrow gets paid, and cements his time in Cincinnati, it's going to be a situation where you see it every year until both of these guys retire. Until Mahomes retires, and until Burrow retires. Those two guys, I don't think there's animosity between them, but there's bad blood, feels like, between the rest of the team, between the rest of the team. So now we're talking about the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl 58 is between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. Now this is Pro Bowl weekend. You're not going to catch me talking Pro Bowl because Pro Bowl is one of the worst events put on by the NFL. It's the one thing that the NFL does unfavorably, not good, whatever. It's the one thing that they do that ain't great, right? Is the Pro Bowl. And so this year they're trying something new, skills competitions, flag football games. Flag, really? That's what we gonna do? Bro, I'm good. For anybody who plays real football, nobody wants to play flag football. Flag football is for guys like me who don't play football no more. I can't do it. I can't even play flag football no more. I got bad knees, bro. So that's just, it's not something I'm interested in as much as I would like to be. I'm not. But it is what it is. Next week, I do have a show. I will have a show next week. I will have audience of one, Mo Horton, who has been on this show before, all during this season. He is an Eagles fan, so we're going to chop it up about Eagles. You're going to get the real show next week. Hopefully that'll be on Wednesday, and from somewhere between 11 to 2. I'm got to make sure his schedule is on point, but it's going to be a good time. The Eagles, there's so many storylines. Andy Reid used to coach the Eagles for over a decade and went to the Super Bowl with the Eagles, lost with the Eagles, blood, sweat, and tears with like so much stuff. Andy Reid Bowl, the Kelsey Bowl, Travis Kelsey and Jason Kelsey, the two brothers from Cincinnati who have currently one of the number one ranked podcast in all of the land, in the world, I would say, and it's called the New Heights Podcast, whatever. And we trying to get on that level, so help me out. But anyway, we keep it moving. So it's the Kelsey Bowl, it's the Andy Reid Bowl. Don't forget, Andy Reid I think he dismissed Sirianni back in the day when he first became a Chiefs head coach. So it's Andy Reid versus the guy he didn't want anymore, which is Sirianni. What else? What else is another storyline that's available? There's another one. Oh, 2 black quarterbacks. This is the first time that's ever happened. 2 black quarterbacks are now in the Super Bowl, which is dope. Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes, the Big 12 quarterback debate there, the Big 12 quarterback storyline with the Big 12 at one point was the laughing stock of the whole league. You never got a quarterback out of the Big 12. But here we are where the Big 12 has become almost a copycat area where you can find different things to do for your football team there. So, um, a lot of storylines, a lot of interesting stuff going on. And now we got the Pro Bowls happening. I'm not talking about that anymore, but we look forward to seeing it because y'all know the Chiefs are my team. Y'all know they're my team. And seeing them boys go, what is it, 2019, 2020, 2020. They didn't go 2021, but they're now in 2022. Seeing them go to 3 of the last 4 Super Bowls is absolutely dope. When they drafted Patrick Mahomes, I knew it was going to be amazing, but I had no idea it'd be this great. No idea. So we look forward to seeing what happens in the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes on a hobble leg. Jalen Hurts didn't look super great in the last few weeks, but I expect to see a great show. I just expect to see what's great in this Super Bowl. This show is brought to you by Foco Sports. Foco Sports has all kinds of different memorabilia for you to take care of and get for your uh, the person you love that enjoys bobbleheads and memorabilia. Um, it's not just Chiefs; it's all kinds of different memorabilia. So please go check them out. Foco Sports. If I can find it, if you use the code word, there it is. If you use the promo Chiefs Focus 15, you get 15% off of everything on the website. And that is scrolling under the bottom of the screen. So I want to thank you all for watching this show. Mo Horton will be on the show next week. Avid Eagles fan. I'm looking forward to talking with him, talking Eagles with him, talking Super Bowl with him, talking a whole lot of stuff because we got a lot to talk about. So again, I thank you all for listening. I thank those that have. I saw we got a thumbs up, so I thank from Facebook. So I appreciate whoever gave the thumbs up. I'm trying to find it, but I can't find it. So thank you for the thumbs up, and I appreciate you listening. And until next time, deuces.